Shabbat Shalom, my friends. It's so good to be with you. It's such a privilege to be able to engage in this multivocal conversation with the Sedra, with the weekly Torah portion. Together, we pick up each week where a previous generation has left off. And we hope that those who follow us in due time will add their voices as well. That's what Torah study is all about. Our Sedra is Tetzaveh, Exodus 27, verse 20 and following. We find here the origins of the Ner Tamid, the light that is to be kindled daily before the Ohel Moed, the tent of meeting. One of my favorite rabbinic teachings, it's not a new thing, asks us to focus on the fact that the oil for the Ner Tamid can only be obtained from olives that are beaten, so as to yield the highest quality product. The teaching then goes on to say that Bnei Yisrael, us, we have been beaten over and over again throughout history, and therefore the light that we bring to the world is bright and sparklingly clear. The theology here, quite frankly, does not attract me, yet there is value in the way that we have found to transmute pain into something which is uniquely beautiful. There is more in the Sedra with its special focus, this Sedra, on Aaron and the priest. Moses' name, interesting, is not mentioned at all in this Sedra. Aaron, the priest. The priestly garments are described in minute details. The robes, the breastplate, a golden plate worn on the high priest's forehead, tunics and pants and turbans and sashes. Tasen lahem lechavod tifaret. Do it, make it for dignity and for adornment. Clothing remains a huge signifier in human society. Of course, we wear what we wear to protect ourselves from rain or sun or snow and ice. And clothing, like various work uniforms, is of course at times quite practical. But Polonius was still correct when he instructed Laertes to dress the part. Since Laertes wants to be seen as a nobleman, he must then dress as a nobleman because, quote Shakespeare, apparel oft proclaims the man. Rabbi Shlomo Riskin pointed out that in a text written more than 700 years ago, it was noted that the clothing worn by the priests wasn't only to proclaim to all who beheld them that, oh, hey, those guys, they're the priests, but that the sacred garments were also vital from a psychological perspective. The priests' inner self-understanding was directly affected by the clothing that they wear. Other teachers noted that the stunning beauty of the priestly garments helped move the ordinary Israelites into the realm of kavanah, of true intentionality, a world of inspiration, even a world of atonement. Queen Elizabeth, in her crown, carrying her scepter, even in these highly secularized times, still creates in many loyal citizens of the realm a sense of awe, of belonging, of community, that it's an orderly world out there. I didn't really understand myself to be an officer in the U.S. Army until I had donned the uniform for the first time, measured, oh my God, oh so carefully, where each emblem and insignia had to go, and it was all measured very carefully. And then I put on my officer's cap, and it was then that I, a newly ordained rabbi in 1965, had actually become an army chaplain in my own mind. Later, in my first civilian pulpit, It was mandated by custom. Davids, you will wear a robe, black for most of the year, but white on the high holy days. I didn't like wearing a robe, but I had no choice. The congregation was understood to need to have its clergy robed. So I was robed until I gained my freedom. Those of us who have been Jewish summer camp participants, you know where I'm headed, know very well when everyone in the camp put on white clothing, Shabbat was at hand. White clothing, Shabbat. Our attitudes changed. Our singing was more unifying. It was sweeter. The Shabbat bride was dancing toward us because we were clothed in white shirts and shorts. Even as a retired rabbi living in informal sunny California, I've had a struggle. I didn't have it intuitively with knowing when I can teach dress informally, when I can lead a sacred ritual with just jacket and slacks, and when, unsettling as it may be, I have to go in full regalia with jacket, slacks, and a necktie. For me, the kippah is, of course, never optional. The early chapters of Genesis make clear that Adam and Eve were not fully differentiated from other parts of creation until they were clothed. Even the nature of that clothing has been the subject of extensive rabbinic debate. We're the first couple clothed in animal skins or in clothing derived from an animal's wool. In other words, was the first clothing of the first couple a symbol of human sovereignty over creation or not? But my friends, there is a signifier far more powerful than the clothing we wear. I love the privilege of teaching classes for those who are on the path toward choosing Judaism. I love that. In such a class several months ago, I shared a well-known rabbinic description of, what is a truly good person from a Jewish perspective. That was taken from the Torah's description of the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark, which was pure gold both inside and outside. The Hebrew toho kavoro, the inside and the outside were identical. For whatever reason, the image was compelling to several of the students in the class. To be the same both inside and out, to truly live by the values that we loudly proclaim, to hold intimate personal feelings that what we say and what we do really reflects what kind of a person we are trying to be. That is a statement, for many of us, far more important than all those mitres and robes and breastplates. Someone whose toho is like their voro, someone whose inner self is identical to the way they present themselves, is the exact opposite of a hypocrite. One who speaks the language of democracy cannot be one who harbors autocratic ambitions. One who teaches their children the values of honesty and integrity can never be one who carefully plans how they can manipulate and deceive, cheat, and even steal. One who ardently defends freedom of speech can never be one who demands that our children could only read books that reflect one perspective on the political spectrum. And the teacher who ardently displays the jewels of Jewish tradition could never be one who never finds the time for personal study and reflection. This is the end of section 1.